Greetings and welcome to another edition of allhorsetalk.com. I'm your host, Alita Bunny Hendricks, and today's topic is flaxseed, or it's also called linseed oil meal in some circles. We want to talk about what it is, what it does for your horse, how much to feed, and how to prepare it. Flaxseed is a seed. I'll show you my tub of it. Remember again, anytime you use a container that contains something other than its original contents, you want to make sure that you clearly label it, and here you see it is. Here is flaxseed. This is whole ground flaxseed. It can be purchased. I purchased mine at my feed store in bulk quantity. It can be bought in the 40 to 50 pound sack. My feed store sells it in 45-pound sacks, and it's about $45. And a sack lasts me about a month for my 5 horses, so it's under $10 a month per horse as a supplement, and it works quite well. You want to be careful of how much you feed your horse. You want to feed him somewhere in the neighborhood of 1/2 to no more than 1 cup maximum per day. I split up my feedings. I feed them, this is a 1/2 cup scoop when it's filled to about this height. Each horse gets 1 of these per feeding, so that's 2 of these per day. How do you feed it? You can feed it whole, you can feed it soaked, you can feed it boiled, or you can feed it freshly ground. And I have a little star by that. That's the method that I prefer. There are, again, pros and cons about every way of feeding it. Take a look here. We have the whole flaxseed as it looks. This is 1/2 cup serving, and that's how much it would be and what it would look like to put in your horse's feed. Here's the freshly ground. Here is the soaked, and as you can see, it's kind of gooey like this. And here is the boiled. It's mega goo. So you know, this could be kind of fun at Halloween time. You know, kind of looks like maybe brains in a bowl or something icky like that. I wonder if Hollywood uses flax goo if they're trying to make snot or something something awful like that. Let's talk about each way of feeding it. Feeding it whole is a way that some people prefer. A lot of horse nutritionists, again, I am not a veterinarian, I am not a horse nutritionist, I'm a horse person that's been in the barns for many, many years. I've learned from a lot of really good veterinarians and horse nutritionists throughout the United States, so I've just heard a lot in my many, many years. Feeding flaxseed whole, a lot of people prefer. It's in its most natural state. That's not my method that I prefer, because some of these seeds don't get chewed up, especially if you have old horses that their teeth are not in as great a shape as they used to be. They don't chew everything thoroughly, so they don't always chew them. A lot of times the seeds that you do see come out in the manure, actually you just see the hull. What's inside has been digested and has been utilized, but I can tell you from previous experience, not all of them, because I've grown many a fine flax plant in my manure pile. So they don't really get all of the flax with that method. Here's my method of choice, freshly ground, and I have my equipment here to do that for you right now. I take my amount of flaxseed that I want, and remember 1/2 of a cup is just under this full measure. It's not quite brimming. And I use a coffee grinder for my purposes. There are a lot on the market. Just pick a good one. Just pick a good one. I have used, at one point I had a cheap one from the flea market, and it lasted a week. Yeah, I grind a lot of flax with 5 horses. It gets used at least 10 times a day. This is a good one. I've also tried small food processors. They don't work because the blade is not set low enough on the bottom of the surface. So you need something where the blade is really low so that it'll cut and chop all of the seeds. So here, we're going to grind it. And what I'm looking at as I grind it is I want to see that light brown powder, that little tan powder all throughout. I don't want to see many of the dark flecks. The dark flecks indicate that that is seed hull that's not been broken up. And I kind of turn it all around so that it mixes all up. And now we can see that when I take the carefully take the top off, that is indeed well ground flaxseed, just as what is in our bowl. I'm going to save that and use that later for my feeding today. Soaked beet pulp. To soak beet pulp, I take again my serving of beet pulp and I put 2 cups of water in the bucket. I've already done that over here. This beet pulp, this flaxseed has not soaked very long. It should soak for about 4 hours. This isn't soaked very long. This is soaked for about, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. But if you can, I don't know if you can see that it's already getting that slimy consistency. Warm water works the best for accelerating that soaking and making sure that it gets soaked properly. Here was the pan. Again, I put in 1/2 cup of flaxseed and 2 cups of water, 1 pint of water. I put this in a pan, cooked it in my stove on medium heat for 10 minutes, brought it to a complete boil, and then timed 10 minutes from that point. And you can see it is really, really gooey and goopy. That is really fun stuff. Oh yeah, that would be fun at Halloween, no doubt about it.